The giants came down from the high stone country at dawn, when the frost still stitched silver veins through the grass, and the sky was the pale blue of a held breath. They were 9 in number, each a moving hill of bone and muscle, carrying weapons that looked like uprooted trees and slabs of sharpened rock. Their shadows walked ahead of them, long and thin, as if trying to reach the valley first and warn it. Below, the land dipped into an ancient bowl where time itself seemed thicker. The trees there grew crooked and heavy-limbed, their bark scarred by centuries of claw and tusk. Old bones showed through the soil like the ribs of the earth. It was a place the giants avoided until the bear came. They smelled it before they saw it. A deep, oily musk hung in the cold air, threaded with the copper bite of old blood. The giants halted at the rim of the valley. One of them, oldest by the whiteness braided into his beard, lowered his head and listened. The ground answered with a slow, patient thrum, like a heart beating far underground. Then the brush below exploded. The bear rose from the trees as if the forest itself had decided to stand and fight. It was vast beyond any beast the giants had hunted, shoulders higher than a giant's chest, fur matted into ridges and scars, claws curved like moonlit scythes. Its skull was heavy and blunt, made for breaking things that did not wish to break. When it roared, the sound did not rush outward. It rolled, a low avalanche that pressed against the lungs and made the giant's teeth hum. The youngest giant laughed once, sharp and bright with nerves, and charged. The ground shook as they descended, stone and frost shattering beneath their feet. The bear met them halfway, dropping to all fours and surging forward with shocking speed. A giant's club came down on its shoulder with a crack like a splitting mountain, but the bear did not fall. It turned into the blow, teeth flashing, and tore the club from the giants, hands along with a sleeve of flesh. Blood steamed in the cold. The giants spread out just as they had planned. 2 drove in from the left, hurling spears thick as pines. One struck the bear's flank and snapped useless. Another sank deep, and the bear answered with a scream that made the trees shed their snow. It lunged, swatting one giant aside like a child's toy, and for a moment the fight was chaos. Roaring, cracking, the smell of churned earth and fear. Above it all, the old giant moved with care. He planted his feet, lifted his stone axe, and waited. He had seen beasts like this before, long ago, when the world was younger and teeth were longer. He knew that such things did not rush forever. They burned hot and hard, and then they faltered. The bear reared, towering, its chest a wall of fur and scars. A giant leapt, driving a blade toward its throat. The bear caught him mid-air, jaws closing with a sound like timber crushed in a flood, and flung the body aside. The valley went quiet for half a heartbeat. That was when the old giant struck. The axe fell into the bear's shoulder, biting deep. Stone met bone. The bear staggered, one foreleg buckling, and the giant surged as one. They hacked and stabbed, climbing the beast's bulk, hanging from it as it thrashed. The bear rolled, crushing one beneath its weight, then surged back up, bleeding freely now, each breath a wet rasp. It did not flee. It never thought to. With a final terrible strength, the bear charged the old giant. They collided like continents. The axe snapped. The giant was driven back, heels carving trenches in the soil. The bear's jaws closed around his arm. He screamed, not in pain, but in fury, and wrapped his other hand around the bear's neck. They stood locked together, ancient enemies in an ancient place. Around them, the surviving giants slowed, watching, unsure. The bear's eyes were dark and bright, full of a stubborn animal will that had never known. Surrender. The old giant leaned close, breath frosting the bear's face, and pushed. Bone cracked, muscle tore. With a final shudder that rippled through its massive frame, the bear collapsed, shaking the ground as it fell. The old giant fell with it, dragging free what remained of his arm, and lay still. For a long time no one moved. Then the giants gathered, counting the dead with bowed heads. 4 would not rise again. The old giant sat up at last, pale but alive, his wound bound with strips torn from a fallen comrade's cloak. He looked at the bear's immense body, already frosting over, already becoming part of the valley. This land remembers, he said quietly. It makes monsters, and it makes us. They left the bear where it lay. The valley would take it back, bone by bone, story by story. As the giants climbed toward the high stone country, the sun finally cleared the rim of the world, and their shadows followed them. Shorter now, heavier, carrying the weight of what they had survived.